I just want to add to the last video where I was talking about that America is a vestige of what it once was, because we were founded as an explicitly white nationalist country for free white men. In the first congressional law was ratified after the Constitution and Declaration of Independence, the Constitution. You said, yeah, this country is for free white men. And then Hart-Celler brought in 1965, brought in all these foreign races, and they of course have by the 14th Amendment they have universal suffrage, so they can vote, and they're changing our politics because the race composition of our country is changing. But I wanted to use that as a springboard to touch on an even more abstract concept and a grander, wider concept, which is racial politics and history in general, which in which case I use that as a reference point and say that all throughout history it has been shown that if a foreign race invades your country, you either repel them or they conquer you, and you change to become whatever they are, and you become like really an annexed territory of their nation, their race, whatever race that conquered you. And in America's history, so-called America, in our history, all we've ever done is grappled with foreign races. We've had all these foreign races in our territory from the very beginning of our existence. And then using that as a reference point to what we're dealing with now, then I also want to make a more meta-narrative, metaphysical description, metacognitive description to describe what I'm describing about America, and to suggest that the American project per se, which is a couple hundred years old, is actually a product of banking and media influence and a free Masonic project. So, you know, we are controlled through the media. Our minds are controlled through the media to believe that our history in grappling with these foreign races is normal, and somehow we're being gaslit to believe that somehow grappling with foreign races is not only normal, but if we if we are defensive about it, then somehow there's something wrong with us, right? So, and there is a special term they use for that, starts with R, ends in M or T, depending on the general or the specific use case for it. So they use this to gaslight or attack the victim, to police the victim. They use PC or speech codes, censorship. They muzzle you, just like they put a ball gag in someone when they beat them for an S&M, or they put an apple in a pig's snout when they want to serve him up on a platter. It's the same thing, you know. Or they, tie somebody up so they can't scream, or they can't hear them when they scream when they do whatever they're going to do to them. Put the body in a, chop them up, kill them, and put their body in a river or whatever. They tie them up, gag them, and whatever. That's what PC code is, being gagged. It's being metaphysically gagged, and we're being tortured with these foreign races, and that's been our whole history. Before, it was more manageable because we had the most hostile foreign races. Well, first of all, there was only two main hostile races, and they were controlled by chains and ultimately by reservations, namely the blacks and the native Amerindians, right? So we put them in their place. We held them down so they couldn't rise back up and attack us. They were controlled, right? But after the Civil War, those chains came off, and the whole equality and suffrage and all that shit went through, so that now everybody is the same, have the same rights. Well, especially in 1965 as well. That was actually an inversion of the system of segregation to impose the racial quotas on whites, as opposed to keep them at bay after the 14th Amendment and 13th Amendment, which gave them suffrage. So it's been a gradual encroachment on white liberty and white safety, and well, safety goes with liberty, right? If you don't have safety, you don't have liberty. If you're not safe, you're not free. So we're not safe. We're not free. We're under attack by the same forces that have always been here. But now even more so than ever before, because those forces which have historically conditioned grievances towards us, as well as media conditioned grievances toward us, as well as just biological, anatomical dispositions and inclinations that are disfavorable to our condition, right? And we're mashed together in juxtaposition, trying to coexist while these people are killing us, and incited by the media industrial complex to kill us. Let me circle back to where I was before, because I went off on a tangent, but it's really all the same point I'm making. We have been invaded, and we're being gaslit by the media, and the bankers own the media. The bankers own Washington, D.C., that makes all of our laws, really, that governs the states, that's chained up the states with federal strictures, and they're gaslighting us, and they're so we're surrounded by these foreign race foes, so Americans have been dealing with these racial problems, but they've only gotten worse over time. The black and the Amerindian problem were controlled by reservations, by slavery and reservations, respectively. But then, as a pattern, as a function of historical precedent, we have been increasingly encroached upon. Our liberty has been increasingly encroached upon by these, and now even more, racial foes, which comprises cumulatively a color revolution of the bankers and their media that they own, which they're using to advance this color revolution and brainwash us, gaslight us into believing that it is normal, and that somehow we are wrong if we try and defend ourselves. So, in sum, I started with the premise, and I'll end with the conclusion that ties to that in a syllogism, to say that, in history, foreign races have invaded countries and either have been repelled by the host nation, or they have conquered the host nation and changed the character of the country. Well, we have always dealt with these foreign racial problems, and also due to the nature of our government, our Freemasonic, bankster, mafia, Illuminati government, this American project, which is a vestige of what it once was, even. Because of the nature of that, we're being gaslit into believing that somehow our racial problems are normal and even that we are wrong for even calling into question the fact that that we have a racial problem, despite the fact, and I'll add actually new information, despite the fact that I forgot to mention previously, despite the fact that they want to normalize with gaslighting the differences, even though these foreign races single us out for persecution, and they kill us for who we are. They rob us, they murder us, they rape us, they put targets. The media puts targets on our back with various historical rationale and whatever types of rationale. They put targets on our back, and these foreign races attack us. And they all are in this giant groupthink and perpetuating this myth that this is all justifiable. Because somehow we, as the victims, we are wrong. Even though it's our country that's being invaded, we're the ones being under attack. We've always been under attack. It's just now more evident and more apparent and more accelerated than it ever was before, because of the amount of invaders and the degree, the global nature of the psychological warfare against us from all the major media combined, and from all the different races which have invaded because of Hart-Celler opened the floodgates combined. So, you know, it's like everybody dogpiling on the host. And while they try to gaslight us into believing that somehow we're not under attack, even though they're explicitly declaring war on us, and have for 50 years, if not 100 years, if not this whole time, just subtly, and now more obviously transparently and explicitly. That is all.